Hello random people on the internet, my name is Banana, and we're finally back with another Hypixel Skyblock guide. I said that I would do this video a while ago, but we're doing an endgame mining guide today, so if this helps you out or if you enjoy it, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscription. If this gets 1,000 likes, I'll be sure to do another guide video on some of the more, talked about things in Skyblock, but something that has changed a lot over the past time, because mining has definitely gotten a bit more insane recently, so I figured that I may as well make a guide on that now. So let me know down below what you want some more guides on, because I'm definitely interested in doing these kind of videos. But yeah, endgame mining, let's get into it. Mining is still the best money-making method in the game right now. If you're a max gemstone miner, you're going to have a very fun time. You're going to be making a lot of coins, but it does take a lot of effort. If you watched the last video, I'm going to put it in the top right now, but if you watch that, I basically talked about how you want to rush your Heart of the Mountain as fast as possible to at least Heart of the Mountain 6, and you're going to want to push for a gauntlet. And at the start of this video, I'm going to bring that up again. You're going to want something like Yogg armor or Sorrow armor with at least a little bit of gemstones in it, and you're going to want to try to have a gemstone gauntlet. That is the most basic tool that you're going to want for endgame mining, and it's definitely, there are better tools there that I'm going to talk about in this video, but a gauntlet is the baseline that I would talk about before you watch this video. So now that you got your gauntlet in tow, you got your gemstone gauntlet being super epic, what do you do from there? Well, I'm gonna depress some of you right now, and I'm gonna tell you that you're still gonna want to Heart of the Mountain grind until you're Heart of the Mountain 7, because Heart of the Mountain 7 is the cream of the crop. Heart of the Mountain 7 is going to unlock the best perks when it comes to mining, and that's going to be Mining Fortune 2, Mining Speed 2, Professional, and Powder Buff. All of these are going to be very, very beneficial to you because it's going to give you more things, and that's really what you're going for whenever you're doing anything in Skyblock. You want things, and Mining Fortune is going to be the most beneficial stat to you other than Pristine. Both of them are going to be amazing, and both of them are going to be super, super important when it comes to the grand scheme of gemstone collection. My recommendation when it comes to Heart of the Mountain grinding is going to be running Crystal Nucleus runs. Right now, it's sort of tough to set up lobbies because they have changed the lobbies to where they are randomized days and you actually cannot see what day the lobby is that you're going into, and it's really weird. But they said that they're going to do a solution where they make the lobbies run for longer, and they're also going to make you spawn into early day lobbies. And once you get into those lobbies, you sort of just want to locate everything that is useful for the Crystal Nucleus or for the Crystal Nucleus quests. You're going to want a Corleone commission as well, because you're going to get that over and over, so you want to know where that spawn is. But the best way to find most of the things for the Crystal Nucleus is going to be by getting a wishing compass. These are everywhere. I'm sure that you have a lot of them, and they actually are pretty helpful when you're looking for something like a crystal spawn. You can just go into the area that the crystal would be in, you can use the wishing compass, and it should point you towards that area, unless it is the city or it is the mines of Divan, because sometimes lobbies don't spawn with those actually in them, but most of the time lobbies will have every single location for the Crystal Nucleus, and you want to just sort of route those out where you can have them all available in a lobby, and you want to run through a bunch of those while doing your commissions. I'm going to show some of my Crystal Nucleus runs that I've done, and they get really, really fast. If you know how to do them quickly, you can burn through them in insanely quick times, especially if you get your jade parts beforehand. The jade parts are going to be the things that take the absolute most long time to actually collect, so if you go and get those before you start trying to grind up your actual Crystal Nucleus runs themselves, you're going to get a lot more Heart of the Mountain XP. So you're going to want to do this until you're at least Heart of the Mountain 7, and you can even keep doing it afterwards, because to be honest, these actually do make a little bit of money sometimes. If you get lucky and just get a couple Jade Emeralds every now and then, you're going to be profiting every single run. And then if you get something like a Quick Claw or if you get some gemstone mixtures in there, or if you get a Divan's alloy, if you're super lucky like that, you're going to be making a little bit of money while you're still grinding up your Heart of the Mountain XP. I would recommend you generally stop after you hit 7, but if you're trying to spin the RNG wheels, get a little bit more money, Crystal Nucleus runs are pretty fun to do anyways. Once you do get Heart of the Mountain 7, you're going to then struggle a little bit more, because one of the most boring things in the game that even I don't push myself to do that much is the powder grind, and that is the next really big thing that you have to go and do if you're trying to grind up your mining, because powder is very, very important. It's going to level up every single one of your Heart of the Mountain perks, and having things like Mining Fortune at a high level is very necessary and very, very expensive. When you're grinding powder, you're gonna only get about 100,000 powder an hour, and that's assuming that you get a double powder or maybe a double powder and a half every hour when it comes to the events that are rolling in the Crystal Hollows. Now, how do you grind this powder effectively? Basically, what you need to do is you need to hit 1500 mining speed, which is not that hard. If you're really struggling hitting that, I don't know what to tell you. You got things like the Pico Nimbus that you can just go pick up real quick. That's going to give you 1500 instantly, but it is going to be a 5000 use pickaxe. But if you have a gemstone gauntlet, this is going to be literally instant as well, because that is 1600 speed. 1500 speed is very, very easy to hit, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to mine through the walls. You're going to get some chests via hardstone, because basically you're going to focus on a couple perks. You're going to want your mole to be leveled up to somewhere around 50 or higher, where you're getting a lot of blocks around you broken. And another thing you're going to want is Great Explorer at a high level, because Great Explorer is going to make you find more chests, which means more powder. Speaking of powder, having powder buff at as high a level as possible is going to be absurdly beneficial on your way to getting powder, because it obviously buffs it, so you want this leveled. So the main 3 perks are powder buff, mole, and Great Explorer. Once you have 1500 speed and that, you're just gonna go and mine through the walls. I really don't want to go through the effort of changing my tree, so I'm just going to run with a bad tree. Oh, we found a chest, and you basically just open up the chest. You just go like this, stare at the particles, and bada bing, bada boom, we got 221 gemstone powder. Do that until you get, I'm going to give you some baseline numbers. I'm going to say if you want to get into actually making money mining gemstones, you're going to want about 4 million gemstone powder. That's going to take about 40 hours of grinding via just this, but that would be assuming that you have literally no gemstone powder beforehand. You definitely will get a little bit from doing your commissions. You'll get some from just mining gemstones. You probably have an okay amount right now. I'd say 4 million is an amount that you can go in and make a lot of money and not really worry about it. But if you're looking for a max setup, I'm talking an endgame mining setup, it's going to end up being 11 million gemstone powder. That's because 11 million gemstone powder, it's a little bit more than 11 million. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but 11 million is going to max out mining speed 2, mining fortune 2, and professional, which are going to be the big perks that you're going to run while you're actually mining your gemstones. So it's going to be something where you're going to switch trees once you're done mining all your powder, but it's going to be so useful in the long run, because it's going to give you more stats, which, as I said, gives you more gemstones. At some point here, it's going to be beneficial for you to change from a gauntlet path to something like a 555 path into a 655 into eventually, at the peak of endgame, a Divan's drill. It's definitely a super big investment for a lot of players. Divan's drill is something that even I haven't invested in myself, because I haven't been mining enough to where I know I'm gonna pay it off. But getting a 655 is going to increase the amount of money you make by a lot, and it's not an insanely large investment when you look at the grand scheme of mining. Obviously, you're not going to have the money for it right at the start, but using a gauntlet with some good gemstones in it and grinding a lot to get a 655 is going to benefit you in the long run. And if you plan on mining as your only thing that you're doing in the game, if you're going to make the money back, you should go for something like a Divan's drill, because More stats, more gemstones. It's something that I've said multiple times in this video. It's something that everyone will tell you. So try and go for as best of a drill as possible. The hierarchy pretty much goes that the Gauntlet is better than a 5.55, but a 6.55 is better than Gauntlet, and obviously a Divan's drill is better than a 6.55. So whatever you can afford, just go for that. The Gauntlet is the best budget option, but budget is not going to get you the best money. Obviously, that is not how budget is ever going to work. You got to go for the big bucks to get the big bucks. Speaking of big bucks, Divan armor is going to obviously be the best set in the game for mining. It's actually not a super expensive set by itself. If you're just looking at the price of the armor pieces, it's only going to be, I'm saying only here lightly, but this is an endgame guide. It's only going to be about 100 mil to get just the pieces, but then you're going to have to invest your time into getting some gemstone chambers because you have to unlock the slots for this to actually be good. Luckily, Divan armor actually got changed where you have to put the gemstone chambers in the system over here rather than putting it in an anvil, and it's going to allow you to unlock things a bit easier because you don't really need these amber slots that are on the Divan armor. Amber is great. Amber is going to be an amazing thing for you to have in the long run, but it's not going to be absolutely necessary. It used to be where you had to do all 4 of these slots in order, so you had to unlock Amber, and then Jade, and then Amber, and then Jade, and then finally the Topaz. But if I were recommending a route for you to go when you're unlocking each piece of armor, I would definitely unlock your Topaz slot on every single armor slot because you're going to get more pristine, and Topaz is by far the best gemstone when you're looking at the money that you gain from actually putting it on. But once you get your Topaz, definitely just unlock the Jade slots, and then if you have the money and if you want to put in the time to get that little bit of extra speed on each of your gemstone breaks, it's going to be beneficial to get those amber slots, but they're not fully necessary anymore, which is nice. So you want to get Divan armor, you want to put the Jaded Reforge on it, which is from Jaderold, which is why the Nucleus runs can also be pretty good, because maybe you can get your Jaderold done via just getting your Heart of the Mountain 7 up via Nucleus. So you basically, you want to get as max Divan armor as you possibly can afford. Whenever you're mining, you should be trying to upgrade your setup so that you can just mine better. Definitely treat mining as an investment that is going to be worth it, because right now it's still expensive. It will probably forever be expensive to get into mining, but once you're into it, you're making a lot of money. So making your Divan armor as swag as possible is going to be worth it in the long run. Now that we've talked about armor and the tool that you're going to be using, the pet is the next most important thing. There are 2 options that are actually good for pets. Everything else is pretty mediocre, but the options are vastly different in prices. The option 1 that is going to be super expensive and is only useful if you're not mining in the magma fields, which I would argue is the best spot to mine, but some people say it's not. That option is going to be the Skatha pet. The Skatha pet is very, very expensive. I cannot overstate how expensive this pet is because it is so insanely rare. But this is going to be useful if you're going to do something like mining Jade in the mines of Divan. That is something that a lot of people end up doing. They just go in there, they sit on the top and mine a bunch of those crystals up there because there is a lot of Jade up there. But the Skatha is going to cost you like 500 plus million coins because you want to get something along the lines of an epic one, because the epic one actually gives you 125 mining fortune, whereas the rare one gives you 100 mining fortune. So it's a huge investment. I wouldn't recommend that you buy a Skatha myself, but it is an option. The option I would recommend is definitely the Bal pet. I think I said this in the last video. The Bal pet is just gonna be the best pet when it comes to mining because of that last perk. It's going to be Made of Lava, gain 15% on all stats when inside of the magma fields. This is going to increase pristine, mining fortune, and mining speed while you're in there, giving you just so much more money per hour whenever you're in the magma fields, and you're not going to burn to death in there. So getting a Bal pet is going to be huge, and if you can afford it, once once again, it's not actually super expensive at this point, but you're going to want to try and get a quick claw on your Bal. This is also from the nucleus, so once again, nucleus runs on top. This is why I recommend that you level your Heart of the Mountain by doing nucleus rather than just doing other commissions, because nucleus it's useful in so many different ways. If you could somehow get a Divan's alloy and a quick claw and 4 Jade Emerald while you're doing your nucleus runs, you're literally set for the future right there, because it is going to be so easy to just very quickly grind up all of that stuff because you got it all in your inventory. It's going to be so nice. So getting a quick claw and putting it on your Bal pet is going to be huge for your stats. It's going to be huge for your money, and that's going to be the pet that I recommend. Now that you got all of that stuff, you can pretty much mine at your own leisure. You're pretty much set. I think that I have told you pretty much everything you need to know when it comes to mining. My recommendation would be to do something called ruby routing. Ruby routing is finding a bunch of locations of ruby veins, because every vein spawns in the same coordinates in every single server, and just going through that route and mining up the ruby to make upwards of 40 million coins an hour. It's not 40 million for me at least, but if you have a Divan's drill, it's getting close to that. It's somewhere between 30 and 40 million coins an hour still to the NPC if you got that max setup, and it's really good. It's definitely sort of hard to find the coordinates because a lot of people don't like giving out their coordinates, including myself. I'm not going to give you the ruby routing coordinates that I use, but I'm going to show them right now in the background. I assume I already have been showing them. But mining is not super difficult once you got this set up. You're going to be burning through everything. Your Heart of the Mountain tree should end up looking something like what mine is right now. Actually, it should look exactly like what mine is right now, where you are getting mining speed boost, pushing all the way up the left side, and then maxing mining fortune 2 as your first thing, and then doing a mix of professional and mining speed 2 for the rest of your stuff. Obviously, if you got that max setup, you just have all 3 of these easily maxed, and then fortunate should just be maxed because this perk is so dirt cheap. It's like less than 100,000 mithril powder. You're easily maxing this one out. You also want your mining speed maxed and your mining fortune maxed, but that shouldn't be hard because you also get mithril powder while you are doing your gemstone powder grinding. And that's pretty much all I can really recommend to you. You want to max out your setup as much as possible, obviously, but it's not that complicated to get into mining, and it's going to be so worth your time because, oh my goodness, the amount of money you make from mining is just so good. If I want to fuel up my minions for 2 weeks, I just got to go mine for like 3 or 4 hours, and then boom, they're set to go super fast with Hyper Catalyst. So that is pretty much going to be it for this guide. I don't think that it was too complicated. Let me know if there was anything that I missed. I don't really think that there was, but that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.